welcome to the Shelter in Place episode of Upstar TV. Feel me? It's your host, Heem. Feel me? And we don't usually do Upstar like this. Upstar Records. We're all about getting up close and personal. Okay.
Period.
All up in them grills. Okay. Hey, I wanna introduce you to somebody. I want you guys to give a warm welcome to Aleja.
Hi.
Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
My name is Aleja, spelled very bizarrely, Aleja. From San Francisco Bay Area. I've been born and raised here, homegrown, straight out the Bay Area soil, straight out of Bayview. Hunters Point, that's my home. That's my place. That's where I grew up. I'm 19. That's my home. I'm 19 years old. I do music. I've been writing since I was a little kid. And yeah, let's get this interview crack-a-lackin'.
All right, for sure, definitely. And so this interview, we're gonna be talking a lot about your producing. Also, I also heard that you're a fashionista. You feel me?
Oh, I most certainly am.
And being a fashionista myself, I always love to talk to my brothers and sisters in arms. All right. So you feel me? You ready to get this started? You feeling great? You feeling good?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, what would you say you have been doing most during quarantine? And I want you to add your creative aspects as well.
The thing I've been doing most during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna be real. The thing I've been doing most during quarantine is sleeping.
Facts.
I'm not a person with insomnia, and I need my sleep. I get migraines, so if I don't sleep, I get really bad headaches, and they can turn into migraines really quick. But yeah, I've been sleeping a lot. I just finished school last week, so I finished all my coursework. Finally, all of it's out the way, so now I don't have to focus on that, but that's been, I'd say, I guess, number 2 in terms of what I've been doing mainly during quarantine. Another thing has been writing and making music, even when I don't make, beats or I don't have beats to produce to. I still keep writing because if I don't keep writing, I lose the habit. And I remember my mom, she taught me this thought, and because I kept having writer's block and I kept having creative blocks. And she told me you got to keep going through it. You got to keep pushing yourself to keep writing, even if you have those creative blocks. Keep creating, even if you have those blocks, because eventually creativity won't just be a thing that is drawn by inspiration. It'll be a skill.
Ooh.
I know,
ooh,
right?
that's fire.
I know, right? That's
Snap it up for my dukes, though. Snap it up for my dukes real quick. Okay. So what would you say your cultural identity is, and how would you celebrate your culture?
My cultural identity. What do you mean by cultural identity? Because
cultural identity, what do you identify as? Who is Ajelazw0rld? Who are you? What is your culture? You feel me? What do you
Okay, I kind of see what you mean. Well, as far as my ethnic cultures, I'm Black and Latina. I am, in specific, on the behalf of my Latina part, I am Mexican, Cape Verdean, and Portuguese. I don't necessarily identify so much with my Latino side, even though I'm definitely trying to learn more about it, mainly because that side comes from my dad, and my dad wasn't always in my life, of course, daddy issues gang.
Facts.
So I had to take a lot of that learning into my own hands and try to learn a lot about my culture through outside sources, through other people, because I wasn't always into that side of my family. So took it upon myself to learn a little bit more, teach myself, and help myself understand, because if the person who was supposed to teach me didn't teach me, I got to teach myself, because at the very least, I want to be able to teach my kids something about their heritage, because if they're curious and I can't tell them anything, then I can't tell them anything. But if I know at least a little something, then at least I can give them that little something and they can take it and learn more, and then they can teach their kids a little more.
So, like, how did you get into, like, music and stuff like that? Like, you know, like, what inspires you? Like, you know, how'd you start off? You know, I mean, give me some details. I mean,
that's like, sorry. Where are you?
My fault. I mean, because I just want to say, like, you know, I want to know, because, like, you know, there might be little brown skinned girls watching this, you know, and they want to start up their their music career, and you feel me, you know, they might want somebody to look up to, you feel me, and you know, you might be that person, you feel me. So
sure, definitely got to be a role model for the youngins.
Yes, sir.
Period. For a long time, I actually forgot the reason why I started making music, and it was so weird to like still want to make music and still have that drive, but not remember my origin in terms of like how I started. And I remember that since I was a kid, music has always been something that was important to me. My soul resonated with music. Like, you know how you hear a certain song and you're just like, oh my God, like your eyes light up, your like heart starts beating a little harder. You start getting really excited, like, oh my God, this is my jam. And you start grooving with the music, start singing yourself, start rapping, even though you don't always know all the lyrics, but you're just like, I know this song and I love it and it's my favorite. You just get so excited. And that was me with music all the time. My mom, she has an amazing taste in music. However, I will say I'm not a very West Coast music person. I was not raised on West Coast music. I was actually raised more on East Coast and down South, like Atlanta artists, New York artists, people on that side of the U.S., you know. I only recently started getting into like a lot of West Coast artistry, but in terms of like how I came to like do music, I started writing when I was a little kid. Like I was able to talk from a very young age, so writing kind of came secondary. And I was also very isolated as a kid. My family had a business and my mom was always busy working for the family business, which was a print and press. The building is still actually in Bayview. It's not like a historical landmark. It's not considered one, but I kind of consider it one because my grandpa was one of the first Black businessmen in San Francisco. So I was like, hey.
Okay.
But yeah, I would always be in that office building, but because it was an office building, you know, I'm just a little kid. It was family owned, so I was able to be there and like not cause a lot of disruption. But because I am like a kid and I can't really do much in an office building, I had to kind of sit and just be quiet most of the time. So being quiet, I would like play with my dolls and stuff, but eventually playing with my dolls wasn't always enough. So I started creating stories with my dolls, creating stories with my little action figures and all that stuff. I would like make my little Bratz doll fight the Megatron thing that I had, or I would and like I'd be like pew pew pew, and then I would start making it into a story. I started advancing from just like, oh, my Bratz doll's going to the store to buy something and this is her little handsome prince to save her. No, now my Bratz doll's saving the handsome prince. Now she's going to school and getting a degree, or she's like having kids and raising them up, or doing adding something to the story, making it more real, adding like essence to it. From there I started taking on poetry. When I got into middle school, I started writing poems. I started reading a lot. I went to Kit Bayview Academy, which is in Bayview, you know, up the street. Kids in public prison, you know, that was a great experience, as the inside joke goes. But yeah, I started doing poetry, and the first time I ever performed a poem in front of people, everyone laughed. I had the entire classroom looked at me and laughed. Everyone was like, oh my God, you see her like, ha, 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 like, she looks so stupid, like, how dare she even try? And I was so embarrassed, and I think to me, it was like a real humbling experience to realize, like, wow, like, what I'm saying is obviously hitting kind of a chord in people, because even if it's, like, not good, which it probably wasn't at the time, it was, like, about SpongeBob soaking up emotions like a sponge, and I was like, I was trying to make a comparison like that, and I was like, that is a little far of a stretch now that I'm like older and I see it. But it was like really getting a chord in people enough to get a response. And something about that made me want to keep doing it. And so I kept writing. I kept pursuing it. So from there, I went into high school, my bad. And I started college track. In college track, I met my mentor, Maddie Clifford. She is a rapper, a poet, and a writer, a businesswoman. You can find her on Instagram at Madlines. She's so amazing, and she's so phenomenal. She's from Seattle and lives in Oakland, has been like repping the culture, repping Bay Area for like the longest time. And she taught me everything I know. She helped me get a stage presence. She helped me hone my writing skills, make myself better, make myself a performer, not just a writer and somebody who writes for like being on my own. And for that, I am forever grateful to her because she stayed like one of my closest friends and like one of the best people I've ever met.
Oh. Believe it or not, this all started a while ago. I was young, maybe 9. I had never known that my family was painted to be targets in a shooting range. Woo! Subjects in tests. They were taking our blackberries to see how sweet was our juice. They were constantly pondering how deep were our roots. After taking what they needed from us, shoot us up with their stereotype serums. It had gone on in the news that Garner and Grant were the first to be infected by the bullet of racism. But they weren't the first lab rats in this series of rodents. Wow. Because eventually, the experiment became out of control. Humanity was no longer humane, but this experiment has been going on since long before even my grandmother's time. Haitian slaves had been the first, casting spells to work past the point of collapse and self-destruction. They didn't know their abuse and servitude would outlive their human flesh. We passed down through their generations. Humanity was never humane.
I started doing youth speaks and doing competition poetry. And they helped me turn poetry into rhythm and turn it into rapping. So for a long time, I like merged poetry and rap just a little bit, and kind of didn't know what I wanted to stick with. I realized poetry can't always continuously create, in terms of a career, it doesn't always seem to be something that everyone's looking for. However, everyone is looking for new music. But I had to take time to focus on healing myself from the injuries from romance, and focus on school as well because my grades were slipping. I had a really, really deep, dark depression period where I was suicidal. I turned those like pains, those stresses, those fears, those anxieties into music. And the first time I ever started really writing raps, I actually remember this. I started watching KOTD, the battle rapping YouTube channel.
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I said, you know what? I could do this. And so I wrote a diss track to my exes. Terrible. I will never share it ever to anyone, but I wrote it.
Hey, that takes guts. I will give you that.
From there, I started taking my poetry and adding more rhythm to it, turning it into rap, and it started getting from like poetry to like abstract, more slam poetry into like really abstract rap into actual rap that sounds like rap, you know?
Can you spell it? Can you give us your rapper name? Your rapper name, so we could put you on some all right, so our fans can turn to your fans. We can get a couple more streams.
For sure. Should I write it out or should I just spell it?
Oh, if you write, you can do either or. Okay.
Well, my rapper name is Aleja. It's spelled my normal name backwards, so my name is spelled Aleja. And my rapper name is spelled Ajela. I've always had people misspell my name, mispronounce my name. Tell me how to spell my name, mind you. Tell me how to pronounce my name.
Oh my God, those be the worst ones.
I want people to know how to say my name forward and backward. You're gonna know how to say it. You're gonna know how to spell it, forward and backwards. Because if people can say Galifianakis, they can say Aaliyah.
Say what?
If people can say Zach Galifianakis and know him and know his name.
What? Who?
Zach Galifianakis.
What? Who?
What? Who?
Decisions I'm making, incisions I'm pulling and picking. I'm making a living. Got no one in the kitchen. You washing my dishes. I bleed like a goat, rather beat like a boat. I leave as a smoke, you a tool in a hoe. I got the seed, I gotta grow. I gotta go. I'm just letting you know that I'm about to blow. She looking grim like Billy and Mandy, like SpongeBob and Sandy. She coming in handy, like her name is Mandy. Baby got back like her name is Fetty. Pull that ass like her name is Candy.
Is there anything else that you would like to say for me to to your fans, the viewers, or anybody else that's tuning in?
Subscribe to Sunset Youth Services. Subscribe to Heem the Messiah. Follow. Give everybody a like and a comment and a follow, because supporting local artists during COVID is important. We gotta support local artists. We gotta support local brands, because they're the ones that suffer the most during this time. It's really important that we make sure that that's a priority, or at least as much of a priority as you can make it. We know it's hard to support everybody, especially during these times, but if you can afford it, try. If you can't, God bless you. I hope you have all your needs taken care of at some point or another. So, yeah.
Again, I want to thank Aleja for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Like I said, I want to thank you for being part of Upstar TV. You feel me? You can find our you can find our Upstar TV episodes on YouTube. Feel me? At the Upstar YouTube channel on YouTube. Feel me? We also on channel 29. You can catch that every Friday at 7:30. Okay, tune in, or else I'm gonna be at your door. Knock, 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 knock.
Waiting for you at the door.
All right, you feel me? Everybody, take care, stay healthy. Deuces.
Your mama's a llama like Homo say I'm and boy, me papa, I'm also your father. Call me a dollar like I am Mufasa. Why is you lying? I ping you like Nala. Give me them dollars, I take them to college. I saw you in knowledge, you thought you was balling. But boy, you a Tyler, you know I'm your nana, so let me get a bottle. Touch shot, I wanna make him holler. I don't wanna be a basketballer wife. Bigger plan than getting man, having children forced to be my life. I ain't knocking housewife. I just know it ain't my time, cause you know the girl is fine. And you know I got a rhyme. Aquí empieza su estoy. No quiera a contra yo. Míralo, palabras doy. Aleja que guapa boy. I don't really speak the language, but I know my bars banging. I won't stop even if I'm famous and I'm blessed as hell, and I for surely claim it. Stage mode, got that.